welcome to Community Connections with Children's Services Council for the new year, 2014. I am part of your host, Sean Boyle. The other part is
Ashley Mock.
And welcome to the 1 hour commercial-free. We've been doing this for 4 years now.
Hi.
Don't say it seems like a long time.
No, it doesn't, strangely.
But we do this show to connect you, the listener, and the viewer to what resources are available in St. Lucie County for children and families. And just to really quickly, what the Children's Services Council is and does, we are an independent special district established by this community in 1990, and we have 5 main focus areas. First focus is making sure every baby is a healthy baby. Because, you know, when you have a baby and you bring it home, and by all means you want it to be healthy, but if there are any issues, we have programs and resources for that. The other thing that we do is we prevent child abuse or stop child abuse before it happens. Third thing that we do is we keep kids off the streets, keep them in school, and keep them off drugs and alcohol. And we do this through a network of programs that we provide for the community. And it's programs that I'm sure many of our listeners and viewers are familiar with. It's the Boys and Girls Club, it's Save Our Children, it's Children's Home Society, it's the Avenue D Boys and Girls Choir, but maybe other programs that you haven't heard of. For example, Early Steps program, or Treasure Coast Kids that provides counseling, or the Nurse Home Visitation program. But in total, our programs, our resources that we provide in the community reach last year over 34,000 kids in St. Lucie County.
And that roughly equates to about half of the population under the age of 18 in St. Lucie County. So, you know, we're really proud of the work that the programs are doing. And as Sean mentioned, some of them you might be familiar with, some of them you probably are not. But we have, in the last couple of years, put together a kind of guide to those programs. We've recently reformatted it so that it's much smaller than it used to be, a lot more user-friendly.
It's still the same size I can put right in front of your face while you talk about it.
But our new family guide to the programs gives you a real quick description of what each one of those 54 programs does. And it also provides contact information, and for the after-school programs, it provides location information. So if there is ever a resource that you are looking for, a service that you might need, you, maybe a neighbor, maybe a congregation member, these family guides are distributed throughout the community. You can always get them from our office or from our website, which is cscslc.org. It's really got a ton of information in it, and it's really a great resource for the community.
And I think it's important that our listeners and our viewers realize that these programs are for all families in St. Lucie County. There's really something in there for everybody, whether you're a new parent and you've got a newborn and maybe you want to join a parent support group. We have Helping People Succeed's Baby Steps program, or maybe you're interested in childcare. You can call the Early Learning Coalition, or maybe your child is older, teenager like mine, and let's say just by chance they do something really stupid at school and get suspended. We have a program, Project Rock, where they can go and work on their homework and work on the skills to prevent them from being suspended again. We have programs for every family in St. Lucie County because, you know, at any time, you never know, you may need a service, and that's what we're here for, a resource for the entire community. Now, this is a new year. Right, and we did the same thing that we always do. And you know, we were coming in here, we were talking, and we're like, we haven't been on the radio for what, 3 weeks?
Yeah,
because
since last year.
Very good since last year. We've been a couple of weeks. We're like, what buttons do we press to turn on the mics? But it is a new year, and with the new year, we have another renewed effort to connect this community to what resources are available. And along with that, I brought T-shirts.
Of course.
Not really a good segue, but I did bring T-shirts that we will give away, and they're really nice Children's Services Council's T-shirts, and you can wear them proudly. And if somebody says, what is that and what do they do, you can remind them that we provide resources in the community for all families, and we will give those away periodically throughout the show. A little teaser to make sure that you listen for the whole hour. Anything else that we need? Did you make a New Year's resolution?
You know, I really didn't. I'm bad.
Exact same. 2013 was such a good year. Going exact same for 2014.
No.
You know that's not true.
I just didn't really commit to anything. I've been trying to go to the gym more, but I think everyone says that at the beginning of the year.
That's true. Well, you got. We were talking about it before. You've got a little.
I got a Fitbit for Christmas, so I'm trying to.
That tracks your activity. So.
I'm working on it.
Apparently, I have one too. So you kind of have the resolution to get more healthy.
Did you make a resolution?
You know, I did, and actually, before I tell you mine, I did pull the top 10. It's kind of like David Letterman. I pulled the top 10 I don't even know that's 10. It looks like more than 10
It
to
looks
me.
like more than 10.
Resolutions that were made in 2014, and getting fit, not wearing a Fitbit, but getting fit is one of them.
I'm doing some of these. I'm doing this one.
Okay, for our radio listeners, which one is that?
Get a better education.
That's right. You signed up.
I did. I start my
further your
master's program
schooling.
today.
Very nice. Now,
So there's one.
now I will have, let's say, reduce, reuse, and recycle. This is the New Year's resolution that is happening in the Boyle family.
Really?
I don't think I told you this.
No.
This is breaking news. Man, I hope my family's not watching or listening. Over the, taking a week off between Christmas and New Year's, spending time with family, I came to the conclusion that our house is never clean. It always seems like we clean it and then like you blink your eyes and everything is there.
You have kids.
We have kids, teenagers, but there's just stuff in our house. So what we're doing is we're doing a 60-day challenge. Every single day, we have to identify one object that we no longer want or need in our house, and we either sell it, recycle it, meaning take it to Goodwill, or quite honestly, we throw it away.
I like it.
So
each one of you has to do
Each
that?
one of us. So my son, who's kind of the one that's the least excited about it, his first item was a toothbrush.
Well,
because
there's
he
that.
got a new toothbrush for Christmas.
You have to get rid of
So,
it.
I'm like, all right. His next item was a pair of mismatched sandals.
He's working.
So he's working on it. He and my daughter, because I kept bugging him, I'm like, what was your, you guys forgot yesterday. I need 2 items now. My daughter comes out with like a trash bag full of clothes that she says she doesn't fit. She's like, am I good for a while? Will you stop bothering me? So we took a trip on Saturday. We took them to Goodwill and donated them, though. But that is our goal, is to
I like it.
reduce the clutter. And hopefully, if we do it for 60 days, it'll change the behavior of everybody in the house. Now, I did have to clarify with my son that it has to be his item. Because his first question was, can I go to the kitchen and get rid of some of the stuff that's in the kitchen? Because he has to help clean the kitchen, and he's
We
tired
need
of
to
putting
check
stuff
back
away.
with you in a couple months and see how this is going.
Yeah. My goal is that it'll go past 60 days. So that's mine. But the other things that are on here, save money. I think we all want to try to do that. Get money and save money.
Yeah.
Hopefully nobody is trying to get a better job from my office that is listening.
Manage stress.
Manage stress.
Manage debt.
Manage debt.
I'm sure.
Manage stress and manage debt. That's like a daily 365.
I think those are together.
Eat healthy food. We have some people in our office that have already doing that. I'm sure they're going to continue.
Except people keep bringing us snacks. And
I know, cookies.
Kind of defeats
I know. And I, doing one for the team, choose to eat all of that to save everybody else.
We appreciate it.
But this one's important, and this one is important to this radio show. Volunteer to help others. And that's what this show is all about. Whether you use this information to pass it along to somebody else, or you use this information to get involved in the community, that's what this time is all about. So volunteer to help others. That's kind of the theme of this show. That's what we're going to carry on for the next year, as well as hopefully getting some callers and giving away T-shirts. That's the theme for this year.
Is that your resolution, get more callers on the radio?
I would love it if more people would call when we give away stuff.
Speaking of volunteering to help others, January is also National Mentoring Month, and something that we've talked about pretty significantly towards the end of last year. We, through Children's Services Council, a couple of our programs that we do with Big Brothers Big Sisters are directly related to mentoring. The community-based Big Brother Big Sister program, I'm sure everyone is familiar with, but we have a serious need in our community for males to sign up to be Big Brothers. I think the last time we had Big Brothers Big Sisters on, they told us that we're looking at about a 3-year wait.
Yeah, it was insane.
Shocking.
Yes.
About a 3-year wait for little boys who are signed up to be little brothers. And I believe actually maybe last year when we had this conversation, we had a mom who called in and said that she had a daughter that had a big sister for a while now, but she had a son that was still waiting. So, if there is a man in your life that you could convince to sign up to be a big brother, I know that's how it works.
Hey,
That's
football
how it works in my
season
house.
football season's
It's
almost over.
There's plenty of time. It is not a huge time commitment. I think they ask for 10 hours a month, maybe less, but it is a relatively easy sign-up process. I know this because my husband just went through it. So definitely looking for male mentors out in the community. Share that information.
And if you can't convince a male, that sounded weird, but if you can't convince a gentleman to step up to do it, they also need female mentors as well. There's still a waiting list even for the little girls that are on the list as well. So really, again, our New Year's resolution for this show is, I forgot, volunteer to help others. This is a way that they can do it. And do you want to give them the number?
Yeah, you can call the Big Brothers Big Sisters office to learn more about what they're going to need from you to get signed up. It's 466-8535. They also have a lot of information on their website, including the application that you'll have to fill out to sign up to be a mentor, and that is bbsbigs.org. So, there's links to both of those programs from via our Children's Services Council website as well. So if you're looking for more information and you can't get to them, you can certainly call us.
You did that website off the top of your head, didn't you?
I did.
That's impressive.
I write it a lot, apparently.
The other thing that they're doing, and maybe we can post this on our Facebook page, and if you're not on Facebook, make that part of your resolution to get on Facebook in 14. And the first thing that you should do is look up Children's Services Council of St. Lucie County. 4,500 of your fellow residents are fans of ours, but if you follow us, we post on there daily either something inspirational or informative or what's to do this weekend. But Big Brothers Big Sisters is having a free pancake breakfast, I believe at Applebee's in Fort Pierce off of
We've been before.
Okeechobee, yeah. There's food, particularly pancakes. We are there. But it's an awareness event to, one, bring people in the door, feed them pancakes, which are awesome, but also to let them know about Big Brothers Big Sisters and honestly to recruit some mentors. So we will post that on our Facebook page, and once you mark it on your calendar, once you find the date, because we don't know it right now.
I think it's the 16th.
The 16th.
Next Friday.
Get some free pancakes, learn about Big Brothers Big Sisters, volunteer, and become a mentor. That's pretty good opening.
I like it. We're getting people off on the right foot. That's what we're supposed to do.
I'm going to pause real quick for station ID, and as soon as I do that, we're going to give out the number so people can call in for a free T-shirt or just to call in to wish us a new year. I want to remind everybody you're listening to Community Connections with Children's Services Council on 1400 AM WIRA, or you're watching us on WLX, the St. Lucie County School Board channel, channel 13 in Fort Pierce, channel 19 in Port St. Lucie, and some other channels on some other TV distributors that I can't remember. 99, but I think they're also on another one, I think I read.
Oh, we're getting
I think we're broadcast nationally, like through, I don't know what it is, the Home Shopping Channel or something. But we want to thank everybody for tuning in and listening. And if you are interested in a free T-shirt, Children's Services Council T-shirt, and they're behind me now, we'll grab one sometime throughout the show and show our listeners or viewers. But give us a call right now at 464-1400. 464-1400 for a free T-shirt, or just to call in and say hi, and so that we can wish you a happy New Year. Sounds pretty good, right?
Sounds good.
Now, before we go to our guest who's patiently waiting, he's got a sweater on, so you know it's cold outside. We have a new council member. We have two new council members.
Two new council members.
And I know that they listen to the show, or at least one of them does, because when I met with them, he said that he listened to the show.
Oh, man.
I know. I was a little nervous. As soon as he said that, I was like, Jason, I promise you we're more professional in the office. But we want to welcome Jason Matson, recently appointed by the governor to sit on the board of the Children's Services Council from Kimley Horn Engineering Company. And we also want to welcome Judge Schwab, who was recently assigned to the juvenile cases in St. Lucie County. And because he's the juvenile judge, he is on our board per the statute. So we want to welcome those two gentlemen, and we want to congratulate Chief Gary Wilson from the Sheriff's Office, who got reappointed, as well as Miss Pat Alley, who got reappointed. So thank you for coming on, and we look forward to a great year.
One more thing I want to mention before we get to our guests. We have, and we talk about these frequently, but we have free parenting classes that we offer at various locations, various times throughout the year. And we actually have a class that's starting on Thursday.
Oh, we have a call.
Oh.
And you know me.
Do you remember how to answer the phone?
No, I think it's 50-50 at this point. I know I hit on, and then there you go.
Hello, caller, are you there?
Hi.
Hi, who are we talking to?
This is Coach Sorrell and Coach Kitchen from Oakhammy K-8 Elementary School.
Well, hello. How are you doing today?
I'm putting you on speakerphone so you have both of us.
All right. You guys have a special event coming up.
Yes, we do. We're so excited.
Do you want to talk a little bit about it?
Sure.
Tell-
Coach Kitchen.
Well, we're having a game here Friday, and it's from 5 to 7. We hope to have a great turnout, which we will, and we're going to be playing the community leaders, and the kids are very excited about it, and we're going to have a great time.
Now, Coach, this is Sean Boyle with Children's Services Council. I'm playing in that game. I have a special request. Can we put ankle weights on the kids?
Now, I would like last year the community beat the kids because, of course, you know, the kids thought they were all of that, and it was going to be easy going.
Yeah.
And they found out real quick that that was not the case.
Well, we're hoping that they don't remember that, and they come out and thinking that same thing so we can beat them again.
It
But-
should be a lot of fun.
But I feel confident because we have the sharpshooter Kevin Singletary on our team. And if I remember right, he was shooting lights out during that game.
Okay, well, we have to stay here and maybe have to box some one on them.
I'm not. Do you know Kevin, right?
I have never met Kevin, but I heard a lot about him.
Well, we're not going to point him out, so you can't play a boxing one on him.
But I'm who it is.
But no, we look forward to it. Now, can you tell us the start time and the cost to get into the game?
The start time is 5, and it ends at 7, and the admission fee is $2.
And all the proceeds go towards the Oakhammock basketball team, both the girls and the boys?
That is correct.
Oh, excellent, excellent. And what we'll do is, I think we posted it on our Facebook page today, but we're going to talk to Kevin actually here in a few minutes. Hopefully you won't be able to see the visual of the show before the game, so you can't play that boxing one. But we're going to talk about that game as well.
So, Sean, how tall are you?
I'm about 5'4". No, I'm about 6'2". I'm the slow guy that rebounded. That was me.
Oh, okay.
That's not what I heard.
Yeah. We like to feed all the younger guys the ball.
Now, are you bringing along some women?
Oh, I don't know. Actually, do you want to play?
I can't. I told you I have something going on.
You know,
that
I
night.
didn't recruit the team. Kevin recruited the team.
Now you're in trouble, Kevin.
I think he got like a 6'10" guy, a 7-foot guy, some guy named Kareem something or other.
So do we get a handicap? That's the next question.
I think Larry Sanders is coming down for the game. Just kidding. No, Kevin, do you want to talk about who all is going to be playing with us? But keep in mind, they're coaching against us, so don't give away too much.
Well, some of the community leaders that are going to be participating, we have Commissioner Kim Johnson. He's going to play. Commissioner Todd was going to play, but unfortunately he sustained an injury during the winter break. A couple of pastors, Trevor Banks, Pastor Davis, a realtor, Sylvester Clark. We also have the youngest guy on our team. He's an honor roll college student. He's about 20, Dante Thomas. Invited a couple of firemen to also come out. But I have a few days so I can find a few women to come out and play as well.
Okay.
Now, my daughter said she'd like to play. She's here on break from college.
Okay, bring her out.
Can she shoot?
I don't know if that would be help for us or help for you. She can shoot. She's a player.
Oh, there we go. That'll work. She can take my spot.
And, you know, I just want to say, Captain, I really appreciate the fact that you were willing to do that again this year because it was a good thing last year. We had a pretty good turnout for not having a whole lot of advertisement, but the looks on the children's faces, the kids were so excited and they were so pumped up and so ready and, you know, talking their smack, and it was great. It was great to see them excited about something positive. So, thank you, Kevin.
You're welcome. Thank you.
It was fun. I'm a little nervous now because it sounds like you guys are like scheming against us. I liked it before when we were, everybody thought they were going to just walk all over us.
You'll have to take that into consideration at practice tonight, I guess.
Yeah. I might have to sustain an injury.
No, we can't have that.
Well, thanks for calling in, and we're going to talk about this a little bit later in the show, but we look forward to it, and we encourage everybody to come out this Friday at Oak Hammock from 5 to 7 p.m., a charity basketball game. Watch the community leaders try to keep up with the young kids from 5 to 7 p.m., only $2 admission, and all the proceeds go towards the Oak Hammock basketball, both boys and girls teams. So thank you for calling in. We'll see you on Friday.
All right, thank you.
All right, thanks.
Bye.
All right, bye.
Bye.
That's fun. Now you're getting nervous, huh?
It sounds like it's getting serious. They're like scouting.
Uh-oh.
But it's going to be a good time, and we were going to talk about that a little bit later on, but we'll talk about it now. As mentioned, Kevin Singletary, who's our guest today from Alpi, has organized, this is the second annual charity basketball game, community leaders, and Kevin went over who was going to be there. We are going to be facing off against the 8th grade, the 7th grade,
And
6th grade, and the 6th grade. So it's going to be a bunch of tired older gentlemen and women versus these young legs running us up and down. But, as the coaches said when they called in, I think we shocked them a little bit last year because we actually beat them.
Yeah, we beat them pretty handily.
Well, don't get cocky. Don't get cocky.
I share my motivation. My wife works at the school, and so the week leading up to the game, she was coming home telling me what the kids were saying to her.
Oh.
So I had extra motivation because, I had to stand up for my wife.
Oh, okay. So it's going to be a good time. We want everybody to come out. Again, Oak Hammock, K through 8, from 5 to 7 p.m. this Friday, $2 admission. Cheap. We talk about what can you do with families.
What else could you do for $2?
Even if you can't be there at 5, because we're going to try to slow the game down a little bit probably. I'm just kidding. Even if you can't get there till 5:30, that's still an hour and a half worth of basketball, and by all means come out. And I think they even had concessions open last time.
Yes, I believe they did.
So there's nothing better than a ball game and some snacks.
That's
so
right.
come out, $2, bring your family. Again, Oak Hammock, 5 p.m. this Friday from 5 to 7 p.m. Hope to see you there. I'll be the one with my hands on my knees catching my breath.
See, you're copping out. When I talked to Kevin about this, he said that you were quite the basketball player.
Well, I know my strengths, and my strengths are defense and rebounding. I am smart. I give the ball to the young guys, or I give it to Kevin on the wing so he can hit his patent three-point shot.
Man, I'm sad I'm going to miss it now.
Well, actually, I think they're in for a surprise when they see the real three-point shooter that comes with us, because he can really light it up. So I always tell them, don't let the age fool them. We had the experience. We have a few more sunrises and sunsets. But you were mentioning about mentoring, and actually that's how we got into the game last year. I went out to speak to the team, and it started as a challenge. I'm a spot-up shooter, so I challenged their best three-point shooter to a three-point shooting contest. Well, it went from that into a scrimmage, and that's how we involved the community. But then it became part of a mentoring, because the people on the team that we're bringing out, we want the children to see that we come from all walks of life, all ethnicities, we have different jobs, but your job doesn't dictate who you are as a person. So it's an opportunity for them to see people at all walks of life doing various things, positive things within the community. And so that's a form of mentoring as well.
Yeah, and it's good to, I can remember when I was a young child, and I always liked to play against the adults because they always kind of taught you something, or at least you figure if you play against somebody taller, you're going to learn how to play against that skill. But it's always nice, and it was a nice game because it's a competitive basketball game, and we wanted to win, right? I think
Yes.
that's fair to say. But it was all good nature, and and if somebody got fouled, it wasn't like, oh, you can't believe that, which oftentimes you see out on the course. It was very well natured, and I will admit I got scored on a couple of times because I can't jump as high as I used to, but it was all in good fun, and like you said, we still won the game. That's all that matters. But I look forward to it, and we really hope that the community comes out, and again, looking at ways to get involved. This is a simple thing. Bring your family, come by yourself, grab some snacks and watch a charity basketball game. We're
Sounds
kind of
like
like the
fun.
whole Harlem Globetrotters without all the
Just like that.
basketball spinning and tricks and some of the making of the shots. But other than that, just like it.
I can't wait to hear an update on how the game went.
Maybe I'll live tweet from the game. How about that?
Sounds good.
On the bench, thankfully, catching my breath. No, I look forward to it.
Sounds good. Well, we actually brought Kevin here to talk about more than just the basketball game.
Wait, we did? Well, I can talk about that all.
We did. We did. Kevin has a sort of unique role, I think, in our community, and gets to meet a lot of young families in various locations, actually, throughout the community. But Kevin works for the Alpi Head Start program, and I don't know how many of our listeners and viewers might be familiar with that. So can you give us kind of a brief explanation of what Alpi does?
Right. Well, Alpi Head Start, Early Head Start, currently we work with 771 families in the community. That's Port St. Lucie and Fort Pierce. It's our service area. But what Head Start is really designed to do, it's two programs. Head Start, we work with 3- and 4-year-olds. And Early Head Start is from infants to 3-year-olds. So we actually have two programs under the same umbrella. And the program is designed to work with low-income families. 90% of our families must be below the income poverty guidelines. However, if a family exceeds the income poverty guidelines, there are certain situations where that is waived and the family can get in. An example is if they have a child with a disability, because we're mandated to serve at least 10% of our population with children with disabilities.
And when you say serve the children, can you explain maybe what that means or what that looks like?
Well, we serve the children and the families. We work with the entire family because every family that's enrolled in our program is required to do what we call a family partnership agreement, where they set goals for their family. The goals that necessarily have to be for the child that's in the program. If we have a mom that's out of work and a dad that's working, the family goal could be to help mom get employment. Or we have families that don't speak English. English is not their primary language. So we can work with them to get them some resources. We're also a referral agency, which means if we can't provide the direct services for that family, we find someone, one of our community partners like you guys, that using your resource guide there to connect them with the proper resources to get the services they need.
Nice. So it's a good distinction. It's not just the children, it's the entire family. And based upon the needs of that family, you do what you can to help them.
Right, and a prime example is last year we worked with the Parent Academy with Miss Nancy over there, and there's a program called Getting Ahead and Just Getting by World, and we had they actually targeted some of our families, and we had probably about 10 to 15 families that graduated from that program. But I just want to give you a quote of one of the dads that completed that program, and I know he's actually on the cover of their brochure this year. His name is Joseph Gordon. He was a single father, and he had 2 daughters. And one of the things was that his family always pulled together because he said his sisters and his nieces would come by and do his daughter's hair. But that's the one thing that he said he couldn't do. He wasn't good with the hair. But what he said after he completed the program, I'm going to quote him. He said, "I will make a self-assessment of myself, and I will commit to be more active with my children in their education." And that's the biological father as a single dad. But then we had a stepdad because he married a woman that had children. So the stepfather got involved, and his name is Anthony Smith, and his quote was, "My experience has been uplifting, and it has motivated me to further my education, and I encourage others to get involved." So when you look at the perspective of these 2 fathers, one was a single dad, which he could have said, "Oh, I'm just a single father," and make excuses. He has 2 girls. But he said, "No, I'm going to do everything I can, and I'll solicit the help of others in the things that he couldn't do to help him." And with Mr. Smith, he saw the need. These kids are learning at a more advanced pace than what we did. I got to go back to school so I can be on point. So when they come home with their homework, I'll be in a position to help them. And also, they both were entrepreneurs, so he could work to get his business established. So they saw the benefits of getting involved.
Nice, nice. Now, Alpi and the Head Start program, can you talk about, you said Fort Pierce and Port St. Lucie. Can you talk about where the different locations are?
Well, I think Ashley alluded to earlier, we just recently moved. In Port St. Lucie, we consolidated. We had 2 locations. Now we have 1. And the one site that we have is on the grounds of the old Port St. Lucie Elementary School. The physical address is 198 Southeast Marion Avenue. And if you're familiar with Port St. Lucie, that's near Rosso, and it sits behind Sportsman Park. Or it sits right behind, what's the Cade School? Drawing a blank.
Northport,
exactly.
and it's right next to Boys and Girls Club.
Right, it's next door to the Boys and Girls Club, yes. And in Fort Pierce, we just recently closed 2 of our old locations, the one on 7th Street, which is Hill Haven, and the one on Juanita Avenue, which was our Queen Townsend Center, and also our administrative office, which was 720 Delaware. We're now located on the campus of the old Garden City Elementary, which is 2203 Avenue Q. So we have moved to that site.
And I have to say, I had the opportunity to come visit you guys out at your new location last week, and it really has kind of turned that Garden City location into a one-stop for families. There's the Garden City Annex, which has been kind of full for a while now.
A lot of our programs
got
are there.
A lot of our funded agencies, and now you guys in the main building. It's really just a great community location for all kinds of services that families might need. And I was teasing Kevin earlier about getting his walking in during the day because that campus is rather large, and you guys take up quite a big portion of it.
We get a lot of walking in. So anyone that made that New Year's resolution about getting more healthy, they can definitely get their exercise there. But we also located other sites. We have George W. Truett, which is located on 13th Street beside FK Suite, Francis K. Suite. We have our Garden Terrace location, which is sits behind C.A. Moore on North 31st Street. We have our Francina Duval, which is our smallest center, but that sits in 27th Circle. So those are the other locations within Fort Pierce. And we have 2 contracted sites, which helps us with our early Head Start. We have a classroom at Loving Care Daycare on Okeechobee, and we also have a classroom at Sunrise Preschool, which is at Sunrise Boulevard.
Nice. Those are good locations.
It's a lot of locations.
It is a lot of locations. So I can't believe we haven't asked you this before, but as we talk, if somebody's interested in learning all that Alpi Head Start does, is there a phone number that they can call?
Yes, we're still in transition, but we're still manning the phones at the administrative office. The number is 466-2631. I'll give you my email address. It's ksingletary@alpi.org. It's all lowercase. Or if you just want to look up the agency, you can just look it up at alpi.org.
And there is actually quite a bit of information on your website.
Yes.
I was looking at the locations listed the other day for someone who actually called the office and was looking for information, and there's quite a bit of information that you can pull down from the site if you're just looking. One of the things that you mentioned earlier was that one of the services that you provide is child development and childcare, 2 of the big things. Can you talk about the differentiation between those 2 and what you guys actually do?
Right. We're a comprehensive child development program, which means we work with the children with disabilities, and we get kids their screenings. They have health screenings, they have behavioral screenings, and then if a problem is identified, we work with that family to get them services. So that's some of where we get our 10% of children with disabilities. It could be from a speech impediment, or it could be some more behavioral issue. Some of our children, depending upon what their disability is, some do part-day service versus a child that does a full day. And the other thing is we're also a VPK provider. We have a curriculum, so we're not a daycare where we babysit children. The children are actually learning. One of the testimonials I got this year was one of the parents was like, can my child come back to Head Start? Because she felt her child was learning more in Head Start than the child's learning in pre-K in the school system. And I said, wow. But I said, well, no, by law, your child can't come back to us. But she was really impressed with what her child learned while they were at Head Start. And I'm not saying that to be disrespectful to the facility that the child is in now, but that was just one of the parents' assessment. So they were really pleased with the educational process and progression of their child.
That's nice. And, we've talked about this on the show before, but all the research and all the data shows that learning and success in school, those foundations of success are laid at the child care and pre-K level. So it's very important that, the 771 families that you're working with, that foundation is being laid.
And you were talking about mentoring, just to kind of go back to that, because another component that we do is we have the Nurturing Fatherhood program, and that's the program designed to get men involved. But a special component, and when Ashley came by, she said, definitely make sure I talk about this today, is we have something called Dr. Dad. And it's for the young fathers to teach them how to take care of their children. Because I know one of the things that you guys work really hard at is preventing child abuse. And unfortunately, one of the areas where you see child abuse is a frustrated parent. And a lot of times it's a frustrated young father who doesn't know how to properly take care of a child. So that was one of the things that we looked at. So that's a component that I think is a very unique component that we offer. We offer something specifically for young dads to learn how to take care of their babies. So that will help in the reduction of any child abuse or mistreatment of children.
So if we have anybody out there and let's say they know a young dad, what can they expect if they enroll in or become part of the Dr. Dad group? It sounds very intriguing.
You just like to say Dr. Dad.
I do.
Yeah. Well, one of the things is the first thing, it helps them to teach, it helps them to learn what is their child's temperament. Even babies have their own temperament. And sometimes, but of course babies can't talk. So one of their ways of communicating is crying. Right. But that crying can be for various reasons. But when you learn your child's temperament, and in the curriculum we have 3 types of kids. We have the easy child, which pretty much stays on a schedule. You can feed it, you can burp, you change its diaper, it does its business.
Nobody in real life, nobody has that child, right?
So that's the one they call the easy child. You have the difficult child, which this child has its own mind. You can't put it on a regular schedule. It's today, feeding me at 8 was good. Tomorrow I want to eat at 10. So, or I take care of my business at this time, but no, I'll go a couple hours. And so you can't, the routine there. And then you have the slow to warm up child. And this is the child that doesn't handle change very well. And so sometimes this is the child that a lot of parents have difficulty with because they don't know what's really happening. But when you spend time with your child, you begin to learn your child's temperament. And that's one of the things that we encourage the fathers to do, is to spend that quality time with the child so you can learn the temperament. Because all relationships aren't the conventional one where mom and dad are married. We have the ones where mom and dad created a child spends part of the time with dad, spends part of the time with mom. So that's one of the important things, is learning your child's temperament. And you alluded to having teenagers. Now, I can relate.
And you have to learn their temperament as well.
They're not the same.
But does that? I'm curious. Does that learning? Is it a group of dads that all come together, or do you work with them individually?
Well, we can do it one of 2 ways. We can work individually, and we can work as a group. Some things are better learned in a group. One of the things I think that the Nurturing Fatherhood program is, it provides safety. Because I think a lot of times men, we put up this wall and we don't let a whole lot of people in until we feel that we can trust you. And that's one of the things that I try to establish up front, that our group is a core group that can be trusted and we can share. Because, we can talk sports all day, but a lot of times men don't ever really get down to talking about what they really feel. Mm-hmm. And that's one of the things. And having a safe environment. Women are two-sided thinkers, we're one-sided thinkers. So when we're watching the game, we have this thing called a nothing box. We can go into our nothing box. Like last night, the game was on. I didn't want to talk. I'm here. I'm watching the championship game. But however, sometimes wives, girlfriends, that's the time they want to talk. So you have to find that balance. But saying that to say this, men need to have an environment where they feel safe to really share what they're feeling. Because a lot of times we put layers on top of what's really going on with us. We have insecurities. We have fears. But, some men are reared that you can't show your insecurities. You can't show your vulnerability. But around a bunch of other men that have like feelings, then it's safety in that sometimes.
I think that's a really good point. And we often talk in relation to our newborn home visitation program that, the nurse goes out and checks on the baby and really checks on mom to make sure that mom's doing okay. And Sean always jokes that they check on the stress level of the father. But I think that kind of alludes to what you were talking about. A lot of times, men might have been brought up that they shouldn't ask questions and they shouldn't be scared of things, and that kind of leads to difficulties when you're raising an infant because there's lots of questions, especially if it's first-time parents. So having a safe place to ask those questions and other people who are going through the same thing, I think, is really important.
Yeah, and it is. Because I can think the first time the doctor had me my daughter, I'm like, wow, I'm responsible for her. and it's a scary feeling. It's a very overwhelming feeling. You feel blessed, you feel joy, but then in the back end, you're like terrified because, the norm, and I'm saying the old norm was mom was the primary caretaker of the child. But today, you have different situations and circumstances. Like I talked about our previous father, he's a single father of 2 girls. That's a whole nother set of issues. Mm-hmm. But he has a good support system that assists him in the rearing of his girls, which is really good. But I think about that young guy that's 16 that wasn't expecting to be a dad at 16. Now the girlfriend says, I have to go somewhere. Here's the baby. Right. What is he going to do? He's never changed a diaper. So we've got to get down to the basics. How to fix a bottle, how to change a diaper, how to check for medical conditions, how to even hold the baby properly. Right. So those are a lot of things, because the baby starts crying and he has this child for 2 hours, what is he going to do?
Right.
And those are the things that we want to protect. Not saying that every 16 years you're responsible, but if he doesn't know, he just doesn't know.
You know, I and a lifetime ago, one of the first jobs I ever had out of school was a child abuse investigator. And I can tell you a lot of the cases were exactly what you just said. A single father, or not a single father, a father left alone with their infant for the first time, typically. And, you know, when a child starts crying, if they don't know what to do and what it means, you know, they just try to stop that child. And a lot of times, and I'm not implying that this happens every time, but that's where a lot of the abuse occurred. You know, they didn't know how to stop the child. They may have shaken the child. So it's good that you guys are providing that. And I can't help but think what you led the show with was the importance of mentoring, particularly male mentors. And, you know, we've talked on the show repeatedly about males need to be involved in their child's life. You know, when we talk about gang prevention and all that stuff, you know, if, you know, in that survey of gang members, they wanted male mentors. That's what male role models. That's what would have prevented them from being in a gang. You're introducing them and getting them comfortable with their child right away. And that's going to carry with them beyond just, you know, when that child's an infant. It's going to carry through when they're a toddler, you know, middle school, even teenage.
Well, you said something important about mentoring, because the gentleman I consider my mentor, he said this to me once. He said, everyone needs three people in their lives. They need someone to mentor them. They need a trusted friend, someone that you can really confide in when those things are said. You believe this person is going to take it to their grave. They're not going to share it. And then there's someone that you need to be mentoring. So if someone pours into you, you have to have a confidant when things get heavy that you can rely on, but then you need to pour into someone else. So there are three people we must have in our lives. And I think that is one of the key components to ever being a really good mentor. As long as someone's pouring into you, you don't keep it for yourself. You reciprocate and you pour into someone else.
Wow, that's great.
Great advice.
That's great. And that's a perfect time to stop real quick for station ID. And while I say this, everybody can reflect on what Kevin just said. I want to remind everybody you're listening to Community Connections with Children's Services Council in this new year, 2014, on 1400 AM WIRA. That's a coincidence, right? 1400 AM WIRA. Or you're watching us on WLX Channel 13 in Fort Pierce, Channel 19 in Port St. Lucie, and as Ashley reminds me, Channel 99 on ATT-Uverse. So thank you for tuning in. And we do have T-shirts. We had coaches call in. Did they ask for a T-shirt?
No, but you should take them some on Friday.
I should. We should outfit the whole team with T-shirts. But if you're interested in T-shirts, and this was my New Year's resolution, people, we wanted people to call in to the show. Call in for a free T-shirt. All you got to do is call in and say hi, and we'll hook you up. Number is 464-1400. 464-1400. We're talking to Kevin Singletary from Alpi as people are dialing the phone. Okay, so you do child development, childcare, Fatherhood initiative, and you do a whole services for the entire family. Anything else?
Additionally, we also are a VPK provider. So my supervisor really got me if I forgot to say that. But we are a VPK provider. So that is also a service, because I think I like our format because you get both worlds. You get the Head Start portion of the day, and you also get the VPK portion of the day. So that really works out well for the families that are working or full-time employment or full-time students, because we keep the child from 8 to 5. So the child's getting a full day of services. So you don't have to worry about aftercare. You can go to work or you can go to class all day and know that your child is being taken care of.
Nice. And can you give your number out at least one more time?
Yes. Our administrative office now is located at the old Garden City Elementary, which is 2203 Avenue Q. The number is 466-2631, or you can look us up on the web at alpi.org, alpi.org.
Now, Kevin, I have a question. If I think that my family might qualify for some of your services, I have children that are within the required age ranges, what can I expect when I call that administrative number? What's going to happen?
Okay. The way to get into the program, it is a interview process. You we just don't give out an application. You come in and you meet with one of the family service workers. There are documents that you must bring. I'm glad you brought this up. What you'll need at a minimum to complete an application, you'll need your child's original birth certificate. The parent, if it's a single parent, would just be the one parent, but if it's two parents, you need your photo ID. You need proof of residency, and the reason we need check proof of residency is because you have to see if you live within our service area, because we can't serve Indian River and Martin County. Well, actually, there's a small portion of Martin County that we can serve. And then also, you'll need proof of income. Proof of income can be your last 2 check stubs. If you receive TANF, then your TANF awards letter. With this being income time, you can bring in your W-2 form. So those are things that they can bring in as proof of income. For photo ID, and a lot of times we get children that come from a foreign country into the country, well, their passport can count as a photo ID.
Nice. And that is a good question. And typically, how long does the interview take? I mean, do you schedule them every day?
Yes. Well, we do walk-ins and we do schedule. So if you call, they'll make an appointment with you. If you walk in and you have your documents, the workers typically will stop whatever they're doing and serve you. It takes about 15 to 20 minutes to do the application. It's a 2-step process, so that they understand that once you complete the initial application, then your child goes on a waiting list. Then we make the selections. But we'll be making selections this year around March. But now is the time to get your applications in, because this is when we create vacancies. Because we know that we're going to have about 340 kids that we know are going to transition out, because they're our 4-year-olds, so they'll be moving on. So that's going to create vacancies. Then we always have families that don't come back for various reasons. They move, find a job, or they decide to go somewhere else. So this is the prime time now to get your application in.
Yeah, don't wait till March when there's already a waiting list and you're at the bottom of it, right?
Well, the way the waiting list works, I'm glad you brought that up. It's not length of time on the waiting list to determine who gets in. It's the neediest of the needy.
Oh.
So based upon, you do your application, we input your information into the computer system. The system sets our prioritized wait list. So it is possible to walk in off the street and you can go to number 1 based on your need.
That's good.
But you won't know unless you turn that application in.
Exactly. So you have to do the application to find out where you're going to fall.
And this is for the child care services that you're talking about.
And then there are no fees involved. So that's the one thing. We are federally funded by the government, so there are no fees involved with Head Start services. The only thing that we ask parents to do, it's kind of our in-house lingo, the only fees that we ask you to do is to volunteer. You were talking about volunteering this year. To participate in parent meetings, which they have once a month, and any trainings that we offer. So we just really ask parents to be involved.
Time and attention.
That's it.
That's it.
That's easy.
Now, for the Dr. Dad aspect, the fatherhood part, now, is that application process the same, or do they just call you?
No, that's a community program.
Okay.
The dads can just call me directly. I think I gave my, the phone number again is 466-2631. Or if you want to email me, it's ksingletary, SINGLETARY, @ALPI.org, all lowercase.
And there's no waiting list for that. They just call you and say, we want to get involved. And
Right, and if there are organizations that ever want to learn more about it, I'm free to come out and speak to your organization about it, because this is really not an ALPI program, it's a community program, because this is something that affects our entire community. And I know that one of the school board members has been very adamant about, you were talking about the male mentoring. We need fathers. We just recently did a reading day with Dad, and some of the commissioners came in and read. That was a big success. But then the following week, we did a reading day with Mom, and the women came in. So that was also a huge success. The children are always excited when they see their parents. And we have to understand sometimes, especially as men, we have to stand in the gap for some men that are not doing what they're supposed to do. If another guy drops the ball, as a man that's doing the right thing, we pick the ball up and we run with it, to use a football term. So if someone else fumbles, recover the ball and run with it.
that's, man, he's good.
Did you write that
I think I'm not going to come next week, and you could be the co-host. Actually, I can't come to the show next week. But and you bring up a good point. Let's say a listener, they're tuned into the radio or they're watching, and maybe their kids are grown, and, maybe they have grandkids, maybe they don't. But, maybe they don't really see how they can get involved, because a lot of times that happens. Volunteer opportunities arise that maybe doesn't really fit what you're comfortable with or what you desire to do. But what they could do is they could talk to their pastor about having you come and speak to a group or a business to come speak, because not only about all the services that are available to families in regards to child care and child development, but also about the father aspect of it. And, that's what I think we ask our listeners, look to volunteer, right? Help us in spreading this information, particularly the ALPI program that we're talking about today. And I will say specifically for my own personal reasons, the Fatherhood initiative, because more fathers need to get involved. It starts with a simple call. Call Kevin up at 466-2631. And if I get time, I'll look up his cell number and give you that as well. Tease it. And have him come out and talk to, just like he's doing today, have him talk to your group. And I can speak, we've had him on the show. Is this your third or second time?
Third, I believe.
Third time.
Together,
If you've tuned into the show regularly, he's a great guest and a great speaker. And what better way to help spread the information and connect people to the resources than asking Kevin to come speak to your group, whether it's a fraternity, sorority, civic group, church, congregation, on Wednesday night, Bible study. Have him come out. You could do this talk, and he could talk for 3 hours, or he could talk for 10 minutes. Whatever you give him, he can do.
He might even challenge you to a basketball game. It could work out for you.
That's a good segue, because before we go, I wanted to talk about that basketball game. But that is true. We could recruit more players that way, too.
Yeah, we need some women.
Yes,
yeah,
yes, we do. But, again, ALPI, the Head Start program, child development, childcare, even VPK, but really services for the entire family. Port St. Lucie, Fort Pierce, including an initiative to get fathers more involved, including the Young Dads, the Dr. Dad program. It all starts with a simple call. If you're at your computer, if you're at home, write this number down, 466-2631. Again, 466-2631. This year, 2014, get involved. Share that number with somebody or invite Kevin to come speak to your group. I think that's fair, right?
I think so. I think maybe we should add that to the list of numbers we give out all the time.
Here's the deal. Since nobody called in, they didn't want to meet my resolution. You need to meet your own resolution, which is to get more active in our community by calling Kevin. We've got a couple more minutes. Kevin, we've got a core group for this basketball charity game, right?
Yes.
This Friday.
But you're recruiting.
5 to 7 p.m., Oak Hammock. My phone just went off. Maybe that's a recruiter. 5 to 7 p.m., Oak Hammock, $2 to get in. All the proceeds benefit both the boys and the girls basketball team, 6th, 7th, and 8th grade. And I believe concessions will be open, so it can kind of be like a family thing. Come and watch the community leaders try to keep up with the 6th, 7th, and 8th graders. But do we have any strategy for that game?
Well, we are practicing tonight.
Oh, don't give away. The coaches are listening. Don't give any. This wasn't real talk, the strategy.
No. Well, my concept, because we also, Westside Baptist, they have a youth basketball league, and I coach it there. And one of the things that we talk about is just make the game easy. Pass the ball and take the best shot available. Read your defense, pass the ball, and whatever you find the vulnerability, you take the shot. So, and I think that's actually a good thing in life. Whatever life throws at you, you evaluate the situation, move the ball, you make your adjustments, and then you change your strategy based upon what life is throwing your way.
See, this is why I think we're going to win. Because you hear that? This is great. Not only basketball coaching advice, but great life advice.
I think you guys will do okay. I can't wait to hear about it.
Yeah, I'm excited. I'm going to figure out where Kevin's spotting up at and just pass him the ball. That's my strategy. That's what I did last year.
We'll be expecting Facebook updates Saturday morning about how the game went.
Yes, like I'm icing my ankle.
Don't let him get hurt. We can't deal with that.
I have a tendency to get hurt when I play basketball.
Well, we're not going to let you get it.
I'm kidding. But again, we want to thank you for coming out.
Thank you for having me.
Our first guest for 2014, and I think we hit it out of the ballpark by bringing Kevin on.
Okay,
We set the bar pretty high. I don't know how we're going to...
Yeah, for coming in. And again, community, we set your New Year's resolution. Get more active in the community. Utilize this show and this time to find out how you can get involved. Pass, at the very, very least, just pass on numbers. Say, hey, I'm listening to Community Connections every week. They were talking about way fathers can get involved. If you know somebody, pass it on. Because I promise you, if it's not you, it's a neighbor, it's a relative, it's a congregation member, it's a coworker that can utilize this information. And it doesn't do any good if it just stays with you. It's got to be passed on. And that's what this show is all about.
Definitely.
You got anything else you want to say for the good of the cause for 2014?
I don't think so. I do just want another quick reminder that Redirecting Children's Behavior class, we do still have openings for the class that's starting Thursday at Rivers Edge Elementary. Again, it's a free parenting class. It runs for 5 weeks, starting Thursday, January 9th. There are still spots available, so if it's something that you're interested in, go onto our website and sign up for that now. The class starts Thursday.
That's something else you can pass along as well. Just go to our website, check it all out, become friends of ours on Facebook, and if you couldn't tune into the whole radio show, if you couldn't write down because we talk too fast, we post it all there.
We do.
Well, we want to thank you for tuning in and listening, especially for the first show in 2014. We'll be back next week. I'm sorry, Ashley will be back next week.
I'll be back.
But we want to thank you again, and let's make 2014 a great year. Remember, this is our children, our community, and our future. We'll see you next week.